Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into something a bit eerie and fascinating, the monsters of Chernobyl. Now, when you hear monsters, you might think of scary movies or urban legends, but what's the real story behind this? We're going to chat about the Chernobyl disaster, the creepy creatures lurking around the exclusion zone, and whether there's any truth behind the myths. All right, let's rewind back to April 26th, 1986. That's when the Chernobyl nuclear power plant in Ukraine had a massive explosion. This wasn't just any accident, it was one of the worst disasters in nuclear history. The blast sent a huge amount of radioactive particles into the atmosphere, affecting cities far and wide. People in Pripyat, where workers lived, had just 36 hours to pack their lives into bags before being evacuated. Can you imagine that? The radius around the plant turned into what we now call the Chernobyl exclusion zone, a lifeless area. Or at least, that's what it seems. So you might be wondering, what's all this talk about monsters? Well, not monsters in the classic sense, but more like strange mutations, eerie creatures, and urban legends that have cropped up over the years. After the disaster, locals and urban explorers began to share tales of bizarre animals and even spooky apparitions. These tales grew and transformed, mixing reality with fantasy. You'll often hear about three-eyed fish or giant mutant boars, but are they just tall tales? Let's get a bit scientific, but don't worry, just for a sec. Since the disaster, the Chernobyl exclusion zone has turned into an unusual wildlife reserve. After humans left, nature started reclaiming the land. Surprisingly, many species have thrived in this deserted area. There are wild boar, wolves, and even the endangered Przewalski's horse wandering around freely. But here's the twist. Some of these animals show signs of radiation exposure. Researchers have documented issues like mutations, but it's a mixed bag. Some species seem unaffected, while others carry genetic changes. It's like nature's own horror story unfolding. There are tons of stories from people who lived through or visited the Chernobyl exclusion zone. First responders and evacuees recount wild tales of seeing strange animals and hearing odd sounds in the forests. Nowadays, adventure seekers and scientists flock there, and many report spotting creatures that don't fit the usual molds. Some have seen deer with peculiar features, or thought they saw a creature in the shadows that they couldn't quite identify. Speaking of strange animals, scientists have been hard at work studying the effects of radiation on these creatures. Some research reveals that while certain mutations have happened, other animals are remarkably resilient. A variety of studies reveal that some species might even improve their survival skills in this harsh environment. However, this research also opens up a can of worms regarding ethics and safety. Should humans even be exploring this area, given its history? It's a real pickle. The stories around Chernobyl haven't just stayed in the realm of science. Films, books, and even video games have taken these ideas and run with them. Think about it. How many movies have depicted creepy, mutated creatures in abandoned lands? The intrigue around monsters shapes our cultural understanding of Chernobyl. We're all a bit fascinated by the idea of monsters lurking around in eerie places, aren't we? So, to wrap things up, the monsters of Chernobyl are a mix of reality, urban legends, and a dash of cultural storytelling. The truth is, while the area is filled with oddities and some genuinely mutated creatures, a lot of the horror stories are just that, stories. The lasting impact of the disaster serves as a reminder of what happened there and helps us understand the resilience of nature. Thanks for hanging out with me today while we uncovered the strange world of Chernobyl. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe for more wild tales and explorations. Drop a comment below about what you think of these Chernobyl monsters or if you have any stories of your own. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.